Friends, it's a new day. It's a new day. Before I go any further, I want to acknowledge that we are gathered here to live, to play, to work on the traditional lands of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh. To Burnaby South. Thank you. To Burnaby South, thank you for trusting me to be your Member of Parliament. Thank you. I want to promise you something. I will be your champion. I will be your champion. I will take each and every one of you with me to Ottawa, where I'll fight for you in the House of Commons. To everyone in this room, there's so many of you who poured your hearts and soul into the campaign. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. To everyone who knocked on a door, to everyone who made a phone call, to everyone who made a donation, thank you, thank you, thank you. To my incredible campaign team, thank you. Thank you. You know, there's so many people I want to name. I've got to shout out, especially my incredible campaign manager, Amber Keane. Amber. Thank you. Thank you, Amber. Thank you for building the type of culture we believe in, a culture of positivity, a culture of joyful struggle in the office. Thank you. My family's here with me today. I want to shout out my mom and dad. They're in the crowd. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. My brother, Jagmeet Singh. And of course, my wife, my life partner, Gurkiran Gaur. You know, your love and support means so much to me. I literally would not be able to do any of the things that I've been able to do without all of your love and support, so thank you. I want to also acknowledge the other candidates in the race. They fought a hard campaign, and I want to thank them for their very important contribution to the democratic process, so I thank them. There were people across the country that helped out in so many ways. I want to thank every one of them who helped out. I'm humbled for your support for our party. I'm humbled by your belief in me. Thank you to everyone that helped out. Friends, we made history today. We made history today. You know, when I was growing up as a kid, I could have never imagined someone like me ever running to be Prime Minister. Well, guess what? We just told a lot of kids out there that yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I know that carries a lot of responsibility, and I understand that responsibility. And I want you to know that when I take my seat in the House of Commons, I will work hard to make you all very proud. Yes, I will. I also want to take a moment to thank our amazing candidates in the other by-elections. We had Julia Sanchez in Outremont, Jessa McLean in York Simcoe, They fought hard campaigns. They fought for the action that people need now in their lives, and they did us all very proud, and we're very, very proud of all their work. En 2011, Jack Layton a réussi à réunir sur le même panier des voix progressistes du Québec et du reste du Canada. Ce rassemblement était essentiel pour bâtir une meilleure société. Comme chef, je tiens à vous dire
Singh was
ceci.
just saying that
Je
Jack
m'engage
Layton joined together progressives across Quebec in 2011,
avec les Québécois et Québécoises,
and he says he wants to renew
le rêve de Jack Layton.
connections with Quebec to
Et à cause de
realize
je vais me présenter,
the
je
dreams
serai
of Jack
au
Layton.
Québec la semaine prochaine.
He will be in Quebec next week.
Pour renouer avec les Québécois et Québécoises et pour leur offrir un plan
We'll have a plan to
pour le Québec,
reconnect with Quebecers
améliorer la condition de chacun de nous.
and re-elect his incumbents.
We are the champions for Quebecers. New Democrats are the champions for Canadians. We will continue to do that work. There's so many people out there. There's so many people out there that count on us. They need us. And so I know people have worked really hard over these past couple weeks. I know it's been a long slog, but I hope you've got more left in the tank. I hope you do. Because we just have 8 more months. We have 8 more months to let the people know that they can choose a government that stands up for people, not for corporations, that doesn't give handouts to SNC Lavalin, but stands up for everyday Canadians. My friends, we have 8 more months to show people that there is a better choice for Canadians, that people can vote for those who are on their side. We are on the side of people. We're going to fight for people. My friends, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in Canada. We live in an incredible country. It's a beautiful country filled with amazing people, but far too many of those people are falling behind. Many of them are struggling. Many of the people around us are finding it harder and harder to make ends meet. I've had a chance to meet the people across this country. I'm touring across here in Burnaby South and across Canada. Canada is filled with proud people. People that work hard to make a living for their families, to support their families. But they're working hard and feeling like they're falling further and further behind. And they're starting to feel a lot of fear and uncertainty and worry. And if they're worried about themselves, they're even more worried about their kids and what their kids are going to have in terms of a future. Now, some people are going to use that fear and already are using that fear and that uncertainty to blame those, not the ones that are responsible, but they're using that fear and uncertainty to point at your neighbors. They're using that fear and uncertainty to point at the people that you work with, the people you live with, the people in your communities. Now, people are afraid and uncertain for a reason. The reason is many of the basic things that we count on, the basic things that we need in life, are no longer there. Things like health care that actually covers everyone, that covers us all. The ability to have a job that actually pays enough to build a good life. The ability to actually afford a home. To have clean air and water. To know that your kids can actually realize their dreams. Now, these basic things didn't just disappear. This didn't happen by accident. This was a concerted decision made by consecutive liberal and conservative governments. These liberal and conservative governments chose to strip away the basic things that we count on. They are responsible. They are the ones we need to point at, and they've been getting away for it. But my friends, not for long. Not for long. So I get it. People gave Mr. Trudeau, gave Justin Trudeau a chance. They thought maybe he would solve some of the problems, some of the mess that the Conservatives made. People said, okay, we'll give him a shot. Let's see what he's doing. Let's see if he's actually going to solve some of those problems. But the reality is he doing it?
No! He's making a bigger mess.
He's not doing it. He's making a bigger mess. He's not doing it. Instead, what is he doing? He is helping his well-connected corporate friends at SNC-Lavalin try to get off the hook. He continues to subsidize with billions and billions of our dollars oil and gas. He's putting pharmaceutical industry profits ahead of everyday Canadians who are struggling with the rising cost of medication. People should be angry at that. Angry at governments in Ottawa that continue to develop a system that puts more and more wealth in fewer and fewer hands. So what's the answer, though? What's the answer? Well, true. But my mom always taught me, my mom's here, she can tell you this is true. My mom always taught me that we're all connected with one another, that we've got a connection that we all share. And she taught me that if people around us are struggling, then we're also struggling. If people are hurting around us, we're also hurting. And she taught me if we lift up the people around us, we all rise. We all rise. Yes, we do. So being connected, coming together, that's how we solve this. But Conservatives, that's not what they believe in. They believe that we're all separate. They believe that each one of us has to go it alone. They believe that each one of us is responsible to deal with the major problems that we're faced with as a society. And that's why Andrew Scheer is proposing the same old approach, the same old way that got us here in the first place. We know what his old way is. His old way is going to be to cut and to privatize the essential services that families need. He's going to drive up fears. He's going to continue to divide us. Now, I met a young kid, 10 years old. Take this in. There's a kid who's 10 years old, and he has a chronic, long-term illness. And this young kid with this illness told me about the medication and the injections and all the work he's got to go through just to stay alive. And he told me, I'm not worried about my illness. I'm not worried about the injections or the medication. I am worried about how much it costs my parents. He's worried that he's a burden to his family. This 10-year-old kid feels like he's a burden to his family. Now, the old way is not going to help out that kid. It's not going to help out his family. It's not going to make him feel like less of a burden. In fact, the old way of doing things hurts families. It hurts people. The old way of doing things, the old approach hurts the mom who works here in Burnaby South but has to commute 2 hours a day because she can't afford to live here. The old way hurts the new graduate who graduates, has some opportunities, but is afraid to start a family, delays starting a family because they're drowning in student debt. The old way hurts people who spend their whole life working for a corporation, working for a job, dedicated to a job, only to see the corporation walk away and steal their pensions. The Conservatives and Liberals have rigged a system that works for the powerful, the wealthy, and the well-connected, not for everyday Canadians.
Time's up.
Time's up. It doesn't have to be this way. We can fix it, and we will fix it. We will fix it. We can make different choices and get better results. We can make life easier for people, not easier for corporations to take advantage of us. We can actually take care of each other instead of being taken for granted. And we can choose to help people now by making sure we expand our healthcare system to include medication coverage for every single person in our country. Everyone. We can build. We do. We can build 500,000 affordable units across this country, non-profit, non-market, cooperative housing, and keep the dream of owning a home alive. We can tear down the barriers to education so young people have a bright future, so they can realize their dreams. And we can...
These people here, they can be successful.
Yes. We can also transform into a green economy where we defend our environment, create incredible opportunities for jobs and good salaries while reducing our emissions. That's what we can do. And we can work honestly. We can work honestly towards reconciliation with the first people of this land, with Indigenous communities. That's why, my friends, I'm asking you all to keep this fight going for the next 8 months. I need you to be a part of this. I need your energy. I need your passion. I need you to be a part of this. The people at the top and the wealthiest corporations have had it way too good for way too long. You need someone on your side for once. Les plus riches et les grandes entreprises ont déjà eu quelqu'un de leur côté. On a besoin de quelqu'un de notre parti, notre côté. So, my friends, together, if we come together, we can chart a new course for Canada. Yes, we can. Together, we can lift up the people around us so we all rise. Together, we can build a brighter future now before it's too late. We can do this together, my friends. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Yes. Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
We are looking.
Over at my good friend. We got a question coming from the media.
There you go.
So we're gonna ask.
Richard Zussman, Global News, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
What are you going to do now to reverse the sagging polling numbers for the NDP nationally?
Well, what we're going to do is get to work. We're going to fight for people and show them that they don't have to put up with a government in Ottawa that's too busy handing out gifts to SNC-Lavalin, to the pharmaceutical industry, continuing to subsidize oil and gas. Instead, they can choose to have the New Democrats who will fight for them be on their side, be in their corner.
How are you going to reverse the fundraising numbers? I understand the party's having a hard time raising money. How are you going to raise money?
Well, we're confident that people across Burnaby South are feeling let down. They're feeling disappointed because this Liberal government hasn't delivered the change that they promised. People are still hurting. Their lives are not better 3.5 years later. And we're going to speak with those folks. We're going to let them know that they matter, they care, and we're going to offer our plan, present our plan, which is to build 500,000 affordable homes, to build a more accessible country where we expand our medication coverage to every single Canadian, and we build a green economy where we invest in technology that reduces the impact on the environment and creates great jobs. So this plan is going to inspire people. Thank you. We've got another question.
Mr. Singh, it's Laura Lynch from CBC, and you can't see me all the way up there, but congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You made a special mention of Quebecers tonight and made a special pitch to them, and yet you lost, your party lost in Outremont. You also managed to criticize SNC-Lavalin, which may not go over well in Quebec. How are you planning to hold on to NDP support in the province?
Well, I got to acknowledge that Julia Sanchez ran a great campaign. She did a great job. But we always know that Outremont riding was going to be a tough riding. We always knew that. But when it comes to what people in Quebec care about the environment. They don't like the fact that the Liberal Party and the Prime Minister just purchased a pipeline. That is not what they believe is the right use, the responsible use of our taxpayer dollars. They want to see us invest in green energy. They want to see us invest in the green economy. So we're going to continue to fight for Quebecers. And I've talked about next week going to Quebec to present our plan, to lay out our plan for Quebec, because we know that we've got a great team out there. We've got a great team of MPs, and we're going to continue to offer a vision that inspires the people of Quebec. Yes.
Hi, Jagmeet. It's Laura Kane from Canadian Press. I want to know how you're going to unite the party and your caucus behind you. You have faced a lot of internal criticism over the low fundraising, over low support in the polls. How are you going to bring your caucus and your party together behind you now?
Well, I believe, and I've spent time with people at the doorsteps, and it's clear to me that all New Democrats are committed to making sure that people in their riding, their voices and their concerns are brought to Ottawa. And we're all united. We're all united in that vision. We're all united in the vision of making sure our governments stand up for people, not for the powerful and the well-connected. So I'm confident that we'll be able to work together on those shared values that we all have. And every one of my team knows that that's what our job is, to fight for the people that don't have a voice.
Of attention to what your win means nationally, but I want to know what it means locally. What are you going to do for the residents of Burnaby South?
Just ask you to repeat that again.
Sorry, what are you going to do for the residents of Burnaby South and for British Columbia as a whole?
Sure. Well, the concerns that we heard at the doorsteps, that my team heard everywhere we went, when we went to community events, when we spoke to people at community centers, when we spoke to people that we met and phoned, the concerns were housing. Housing was the top concern across this riding, and what we're committed to doing is immediate action. We're fast-tracking, we're calling for the fast-tracking of investments to build new cooperative housing and new non-market housing immediately. We're calling for a return to the time when the federal government used to build housing. Back in the 70s, back in the late 40s, we used to build hundreds and thousands of affordable homes. I want to get back into doing that so people can still dream of and actually achieve the dream of owning a home.
Mr. Singh, Jason D'Souza, CBC News.
Hey, Jason.
We've seen how contentious this by-election has been, both between the candidates, but as well between the supporters. Obviously, a number of the public debates, the tensions and emotions ran very high. What kind of tone do you think that might set for the general election come the fall?
Well, I think the tone comes from the fact that people are frustrated. There's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, and there's some folks that are going to use that anger and frustration and direct it towards people that are not responsible. New Canadians and people that are fleeing persecution are not responsible for the problems that we're faced with. Governments in Ottawa are responsible. Their lack of prioritizing people is responsible. So we're going to make better choices. We're going to address the fact that people want to have a bright future. They want to know that their kids have a bright future. And so we're going to make the choices that put people first and that deal with the problems they're faced with. And we'll address that uncertainty and that fear by giving people hope and something to dream and something to look forward to. And I'm confident we can do that.
Globe and Mail, congratulations on your election. What do you say, though, about the symbolism?
Sorry, my friend.
Sorry?
You could just start, there was a little bit of applause when you started. Can you start that again?
Sorry. Go ahead. What do you say about the symbolism? Tonight you've won in Burnaby South, but you lost in Outremont, where the Orange Wave began. You say you're going to talk to Quebecers, but you've already talked to Quebecers, and still you lost Outremont tonight. What are you going to do to try and turn things around in Quebec? Does it matter to you if you lose ground in Quebec?
Thank you. So, first off, we always knew that Outremont was going to be a tough riding, but we've got an incredible team of MPs in Quebec. We know that the people of Quebec are not happy with some of the policies that this government, the Liberal government, has brought forward. They're upset at the lack of respect for the culture and identity. They're concerned about offshore tax havens. They're really disappointed in the Liberal government's decision to buy a pipeline. We know that there's folks in Quebec that care deeply about the environment. On those issues, the Liberals have let them down. The Conservatives don't care about those particular issues. New Democrats want to build a brighter future where we invest in the green economy, where we create great jobs and reduce our emissions. We would not have purchased a pipeline with our taxpayer dollars. Instead, we would invest that money in the future, which is green energy, renewable energy. So we're confident.
As a follow-up to go to a question you were asked earlier, is there a risk in slagging SNC-Lavalin? It may play in Burnaby South. Is there a risk that it could cost you support in Quebec, where many Quebecers work for the company?
Well, even Canadians across this country, including Quebecers, don't believe we should be giving preferential treatment to one corporation, that if you're well connected and powerful, you can just call up the Prime Minister and have them change the laws to get you off the hook. No one believes that's a good way to run a country, and Quebecers also don't believe that that's the way we should run a country.
You talked about you're going to be in Quebec next week. You're leading a national party into a federal election. Are the people of Burnaby South going to be left behind? Are you still going to be able to represent those people in Ottawa?
Not at all. The people of Burnaby South were left behind by a Liberal government that chose not to deal with the housing crisis. The people of Burnaby South were left behind by a Prime Minister who purchased a pipeline that the people did not want. The people of Burnaby South were left behind by a Liberal Party and a Prime Minister that doesn't believe in expanding our health care to ensure that everyone in our country is covered with medication coverage. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to fight for affordable housing. We're going to build new units. We're going to push for investments in co-ops and nonprofit and non-market housing. We're going to expand our healthcare system and push for solutions that solve people's problems.
Just as a follow-up to that, how much time between now and the election are you going to split between being everywhere else and actually being here in Burnaby South?
Well, as any MP, my job is to take the concerns that I've heard here in Burnaby South and take them to Ottawa. So I'm going to do that job. I'm going to make sure the concerns that I've heard, the people's voice is going to be heard loud and clear when I take my seat in the House of Commons. And Burnaby South and the Lower Mainland are incredibly important to us as New Democrats. We're going to continually be here and have a strong presence here. That's it. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. We're going to start the party soon. I'm going to get on the mic. And we're going to get some music starting. So get ready. Get your dancing feet ready.